Hey guys, and welcome to episode 6 of my Out of the Park baseball series with the Chicago Cubs. It is July 1st. We simmed ahead a month since the last episode ended, so I'll bring you up to speed on where we are, what we've done, and kind of what we're looking to do moving forward. This last month for the Cubs has been very successful. We went 16-9 during the month of June, which vaulted us into first place by a significant amount. We are 5 games up on the Milwaukee Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds. We were actually about 8 games up, but we've lost 4 of our last 5 to drop down a bit, but I'll take it. 11 games over 500 on July 1st. So, first things first, you can see that we have a new addition to the lineup, Kyle Seager. He noticed he was on the trade block. I went to Seattle, and they were looking strictly for a salary dump. So I was able to add in a minor league pitcher, Justin Dunn. Okay, if his movement and control picks up, he could be a serviceable starter. But because they were looking for a salary dump, I was able to attach a kind of some depth as well, and I traded a 21-year-old pitcher and picked up Kyle Seager. Now, Seager's a third baseman. Obviously, we have that position locked up, so I made the decision to move Seager to left. You can see he's played 14 games for the Cubs. He's already improved his left field rating to a 9. There was no rating there initially, so we're going to play him in left field. You can see through 14 games, he's 12 for 50, 240 average. I suspect those numbers will increase. He's playing primarily against lefties. He's got some pretty good numbers against lefties, or against righties rather. He is a lefty. Pretty good numbers against righties. We'll sit him most of the time against lefties. So his contract, $18 million, but it is just through this season. We have a team option for next year at $15 million, which we will likely decline unless he is on fire this year. The other move we made during the month of June was we signed Eduardo Rodriguez to a 5-year, $50 million contract. You can see Rodriguez has had a really, really nice year here with the Cubs, 10-5, 2.47 ERA. Really is solidified that spot behind Chris Archer. See, it is a full 5-year deal, no options, no vesting, no nothing. So, just a 5-year, $50 million contract with a couple of bonuses. Pretty good value for a now 28-year-old. Review of midseason goals. We're over 500. We haven't increased our stolen bases, but I don't really care about that. Kyle Seager, Gold Glove winner, so he's happy with the decisions we've made. We re-signed Mike Brumley. He's done a good job with our hitters, and he's got 2 of our younger hitters on his list here. So Happ and Hazley, we're going to keep him around to develop those guys. And then here is the most up-to-date top 10 prospect list. Wander Franco with Tampa Bay is the number 1 prospect in baseball with that 90 contact at age 20. Wow, look at that. He's going to be an absolute stud. We don't have anybody in the top 10. In fact, our rankings have gotten worse. Go to the Cubs. You can see Isaac Moyon. I did I asked for a scouting report because my scouting is very low, and I don't see these numbers as being the number 31 prospect in baseball. So when that comes back, hopefully we'll have a better explanation. Amaya and Marquez are the only other 2 in top 100. So prospects are kind of in rough shape. So that's what we did in June. Let's take a look at the lineups and pitching staff. Chris Bryant continues to hammer the ball, 25 home runs in 84 games, OPS of over 1,100. He's on pace for a 12-WAR season or 11-WAR season. Obviously, I don't expect this to be the final tally, but if it is, hey, and we signed him to a contract at the right time, I guess. Adam Hazley continues an outstanding rookie season, 26 doubles, 9 home runs, 907 OPS, 322 batting average. Couldn't ask for more. Ian Happ having upgrade and improvement over last season. He's on pace to basically surpass everything. He's on pace to strike out more, but on pace for more walks, more RBIs, more home runs, more triples, more doubles, more hits, more runs, more everything. So nice improvement from Ian Happ this year. He's already equaled his WAR from last year in half the number of games. We talked about Kyle Seager. Jason Hayward's actually been a pleasant surprise. Got a 1.1 WAR this year, playing primarily against righties. Some good power. 24 extra base hits and 275 at bats. 44 runs knocked in, hitting almost 290, playing good defense still. So, yeah, I can't complain. It's still not worth $20 million, but been a good year for him. Anthony Rizzo has struggled. He had a really good May, but as you can see here, June was as bad as May was good, as he hit 194 with a 658 OPS. So hopefully we can have this good bad thing continue, and in July he'll have a bounce back month. We definitely need him. What else we got? Salvador Perez continues to do his thing, only hitting 220, 720 OPS, 13 home runs. And Javi Baez continues to struggle. Already struck out 125 times this year, average all the way down to 203. I've moved him down in the order against righties. I switched him and Adam Hazley. And then against lefties, he's still batting second. So hopefully he can turn things around here in the second half of the season. And then you can see the rest of the hitters. Guillermo Heredia is having another nice year as a backup outfielder. Frazier's struggling, but he's not playing as much anymore. And then everybody else. Pitching staff has been outstanding, led by Archer and Rodriguez at the top of the order, 21-8 between the two of them. They've both thrown over 100 innings. Batting averages are really low. Ks per 9 are solid. Walks per 9 are solid. Jonathan Loaizaga is only 6-6, but 3.65 ERA. I mean, he's got a 2 WAR, and he's 6-6, so he's played really well. Seth Lugo has been awesome in the pen. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. 1-0, an ERA of 1.44, 65 strikeouts to only 7 walks. Only 42 base runners allowed in 50 innings, so that whip is pretty crazy. 12 strikeouts per 9, 9.3 strikeouts per walk, 3.05 ERA plus. I mean, 2.64 whip or FIP. So a reliever with a 1.2 WAR midway through the season doesn't happen very often. Julio Urias hasn't had a great season. He's only 2-6 with a 5.48 ERA. FIP is significantly lower, so I'm hoping he can kind of turn it around. If not, we may give Kyle Wright a chance back in the rotation again. We'll just sort of have to see how it goes. Matt Barnes pitching really well in a setup role, 43 strikeouts in 31 innings. He wants a lot of money to come back. I don't know if I'm prepared to pay a setup man $27 million over 3 years. So we'll keep an eye on this and see where it goes throughout the rest of the season. Speaking of my closer, Liam Hendricks, 2-2, 15 saves, 2.08 ERA. His numbers are starting to drop a little bit. These were all in the low 60s when we traded for him. So hopefully he can hang on here for a couple of years. And then you can see everybody else. Arano's pitching well again, 32 strikeouts. Rex Brothers, 34 strikeouts in 22 innings, only giving up 10 hits in 22 innings. So pretty ferocious lefty against other lefties. So, all right, let's sim ahead here just one day to the international free agents. And we beat Milwaukee 6-0. Let's look at that box score really quickly. Happ with a home run, Baez with a home run. Baez went 3 for 3. That's nice to see. Happ 2 for 4 with 2 runs knocked in. Urias, exactly what I was hoping for. 5 2/3 shutout ball. Bullpen was solid again. So good pitching for the Cubs. And I did ask for some scouting assessments on some people. Just wanted to get some up-to-date numbers. Wander Javier, he was our Rule 5 pick. I like what I see offensively. He'll probably go down to AAA next year and get some time down there, but pretty good. I like what I see out of him. Braylon Marquez. He's starting to come around. He struggled last year in high A ball. He's repeating it and doing much better this year. So he's probably will head to Double A here relatively soon. And Jared Jones, who was our #1 pick last year, starting to come along a little bit. Again, those pitches are solid. This other stuff is okay. So I'll have to see how it goes, but I'm encouraged. He's still only 19. All right, international free agents. Let's see what we got. Always an opportunity to land a big name here. And there's a bunch of garbage. But see, the problem here is that a lot of the... Oh, wow. I don't know. I mean, do I take a chance on going with somebody who we don't know as much about, but could be an impact player if OSA is right? Or do I go with somebody with not as much upside, but we're more confident in what those numbers will look like? Deserves a spot in the rotation, but likely closer to the bottom than the top. Say about Guerra. Penciled in for a Lion shot. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Guerreca. Is it Guerreca? Guerreca. And we're just going to offer him the 5. Call it a day. All right. So we are going to... I'm going to sim ahead to the trade deadline. Looking... what are we looking for? And I don't know. Maybe another starting pitcher. Allow us to move Alzolay back into the bullpen. If Wright comes along this month, I might not have to. I can just slide right back into the rotation. Yeah, I don't really... There's not a whole lot we need. We're set on backup outfielders. I mean, I could use maybe a backup corner bat. Somebody to back up at third and first to give these guys a break. If there's a stud bullpen arm, we might make a move there. And that's about it. I think I'm pretty happy with the way things look. So I will go ahead and sim ahead to the trade deadline, and we'll be back then. Talk to you in a minute. All right, we are back. It is August 1st. The trading deadline has come and gone. We'll take a look. We made a couple of moves, one of them minor, one of them a little bit more important. But let's really quickly just take a look at the team and where we stand. So still in first place. Pittsburgh has made a bit of a push here. They actually passed us about a week ago, but we've won a few games in a row. They lost a couple. So we sit 62-47, 2.5 games up on the Pittsburgh Pirates, 7 games clear of Milwaukee, and 9 ahead of the Cincinnati Reds. So we go to our mail. We were able to sign Mario Guerreca, the center fielder who kind of had that higher peak. So we will go ahead and get a scouting report on him. All-Star game, we, believe it or not, we're in first place, and we only had 2 players named to the team, Seth Lugo and Chris Bryant, and that is it. I'm surprised that Archer or Eduardo Rodriguez didn't make it, but here we are. All-Star prospect game, we had a couple of players. Braylon Marquez made it. Actually, that may have been it. Yeah, Marquez was it. That's disappointing. All right, so I guess we'll just look at this one first. So the first deal we made, believe it or not, was with the St. Louis Cardinals. They had Dylan Betances on the trading block. So we went ahead and made a move for him, trading a 22-year-old minor league catcher for Betances. Obviously, everybody knows Betances' background, killer stuff, great fastball, great curveball, movement and control are average, but we're not asking him to come in and be a closer. We're slotting him into a middle relief role. We're leaving Barnes and Arano as they've both pitched really well. So he's going to be in there as another middle reliever. We did have to make a difficult decision, and we actually sent down Mitchell White. We'll call him back up when rosters expand, but numbers crunch, and he was just that odd man out. I didn't want to send down our only lefty in Brothers, so he was that option. Everybody else is pitching pretty well. I mean, Kyle Wright's numbers have started to drop here, which is nice. If we look at his pitching splits in relief, you can see 16 games, 2.45 ERA. So he's pitching really well as a reliever. But things are going well right now, so I'll probably leave him in the bullpen and leave my starters where they are. So let's just take a quick look. Chris Archer, ERA has come up some here. The FIP is still relatively low, so overall, very happy with his season. His walks are creeping up a tiny bit. As long as he can keep that around 3.5, I'll be content with that. Loaiziga, up to 2.7 WAR. He's 8-7, 3.37 ERA. Eduardo Rodriguez, 11-7, 2.93. Urias, 4-7, 4.62. He's really the only starter with who's been, or really our only pitcher who's been quote unquote below average. Wright has, but only as a starter. When you factor in how he's done relief wise, I'd say he's been pretty solid. Matt Barnes, he's got a 301 ERA plus. He's still asking for, his offer is dropped. If I can get him around 6, I'd be comfortable with that. So we'll talk to him a little bit in August and see if we can lock him down. Azalea has slid into the starting rotation again and done really well. 83 strikeouts, 70 innings, 3.57 WHIP, 3.33 ERA, 2.23 opponent batting average. So overall, Liam Andrix continues to get it done. Again, the numbers, like I said before, these numbers are starting to drop, but he's getting it done. He's walking, a little bit higher than his average, giving up a lot of hits. So I'm not entirely sure how he's doing it, but he's doing it. So not going to worry too much about it right now. I mean, his FIP is 3.95, so he hasn't pitched this well. But, sometimes smoke and mirrors gets it done, right? If we look at our lineup, Chris Bryant, already passed the 30 home run mark on August 1st, on pace for 46 home runs, 106 RBIs, and 10.3 WAR. Can't really say anything other than he's having a killer season. Adam Hazley really should be, I haven't looked at some of the other rookies, but you'd have to think he'd be near or at the top of the Rookie of the Year rankings, hitting 304, 850 OPS. A lot of gap power, playing really well. Ian Happ continues to play well as well. Kyle Seager with the Cubs, 270, 748 OPS. Power's down a little bit. Left field, he's already up to a 19, so he's playing okay out there. Hasn't been great, obviously, but he's doing what we need him to do, which is provide more pop than what we were getting out of Clint Frazier. Javi Baez, it's weird. His average is still right around 200, but up to a 1.5 WAR. He's got 27 home runs, so he could end up hitting 210 with 40 home runs. Those are Rob Deere-esque numbers. I would like to see this average come up to 240 or 250 by the end of the year. But if he hits 40 home runs, I'm not going to complain too much. Heredia, it's just been outstanding as a backup outfielder for us for the 2 years we've had him. Couldn't ask for anything more there. Hayward continues to be all right. Rizzo, his average is kind of stagnated in that 230 range. How did he do last month? 253 with virtually no power. on base percentage was 40 points higher than his slugging, so that's no good out of your slugging first baseman. He's on pace to hit the same number of home runs as last year, but fewer doubles, significantly fewer RBIs. So it hasn't been a great season for Riz. Salvador Perez, again, I mean, his OPS is a little light, but he's still playing pretty good defense. And then you can see everybody else. What else do we want to look at? So we are through the trading deadline. It's August 1st. We're in first place. Got still have some money. You know what? Let's take a look and let's see if we can't lock down Barnes. Not crazy about. Let's see if we can get him at 6. Oops. Click to the back button. Sorry about that. Extension. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make this a team option. 600,000. Take that. He will. All right. I'd take that. You know, he's pitched solid for us. You know, you expect everything to drop a little bit, but you know, $6 million these days in big league ball isn't that much. All right. So yeah, we are pretty good shape. 2.5 games up. Team chemistry. Everybody's happy. No concerns there. It would be nice to get some other people in here under leader and captain. Perez will be gone next year, so that might be something we want to take a look at. What else do we want to look at here before we run through August? Because I think August is going to be the last month. With it appearing, and I don't want to count my chickens, but with it appearing that we could be making a push towards the postseason, I'm thinking that I want to stop this episode at the end of August or beginning of September, roster expansion, and then we'll do September and any postseason in the next episode. And if we choke, it'll be a postmortem. So I think that will do it for July. So I'm going to go ahead and sim through August, and we'll see where we stand at that point. So we'll see you in a sec. All right, it is September 1st, 2021, and the Cubs are currently in first place still, 77-61, 4.5 games up on now the Milwaukee Brewers, 5 games up on the Pirates, 7 on the Reds, and 24 games clear of those pesky St. Louis Cardinals. So I think I am going to play this to the end of the regular season. That month went pretty quickly. No trades, nothing like that. We did, it's not on here anymore, but we did lock down Matt Barnes for that 3-year contract. It's 3 years, $18 million. The last year is a team option, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. Just a quick look at Dylan Betances, who we picked up at the trade deadline. Pitched pretty well for us, 24 games, 22 innings, 29 strikeouts. Yeah, he's pitched pretty well. We moved him into a setup role, moved Arano back into middle relief. So he's pitched pretty well. We were only able to call up 2 people. The new rules for the roster expansion. We called up Justin Dunn, who we got in the Kyle Seager trade. And we're going to have him as an emergency starter and an opener in case we have to pitch a doubleheader or, you know, somebody gets hurt and I don't have anybody else to start. Dunn will go in there. And then we called up William Contreras. We wanted to call up our top prospect, Amaya, but he's hurt. Torn quad, out for the next 5 weeks, so he's hurt. Quick look at a couple of our other prospect, Jason Dominguez. We got him from the Yankees last year, starting to come along. Man, if that's where he ends up, we got ourselves a stud center fielder, already major league ready defensively and on the base pass. We just need that bat to come around. He's an 18-year-old playing an A ball. He's hitting .421 through his first 13 games. He crushed it in uh, uh, short season A ball as well. So if he keeps this up, he'll start next year as a 19-year-old in high A. So fast track in here, Jason Dominguez. Braylon Marquez starting to come along again. I'm probably going to just leave him in high A ball for the rest of the year. Start him next year in double A. Brennan Davis, we just moved up to double A himself. He was playing pretty well in high A ball. Good gap power, 788 OPS. He's OPSing even higher in double A right now. 511 slugging. So he could be our left fielder next year if these numbers improve. I hope more than likely, though, he'll start the season in double A or triple A and get a little bit more seasoning. Esteban Florival, he's going to be he'll probably start the season in triple A, and he will be our at the bare minimum, he'll be our backup outfielder at some point next year, or once Heredia starts to get a little bit more expensive or starts his decline. But there's no reason for me to call him up now because Heredia is still playing really well. Garcia, who is the other outfielder we got in that Yankee trade, he's coming along really well too. We could have just an absolute killer outfield of Brennan Davis, Jason Dominguez, and Anthony Garcia if all of these guys develop as their numbers say they will. So looking forward to that. Prospect I'm keeping my eye on, who I haven't really paid much attention to until recently, is this guy here, Alfonso Rivas. I mean, he's already 24. Strange skill set for a first baseman. Really high discipline, good contact, decent gap power, no home run power. But you just look at his AAA numbers: 12 homers, 74 RBIs, 104 walks, 441 on base percentage. He's really forcing his way into the team's plans. So we'll have to figure out what to do with him next year. Yeah, that's about it in terms of the prospect watch. If we look at our lineups, we're going to just run through stats and stuff really quickly, and then I'll go ahead and run through September. Chris Bryant is up to a 7.2 WAR, 35 home runs, 85 RBIs, on pace for 41 and 100. 8.5 WAR. He slowed down a little bit here in the second half, but still MVP type numbers out of our third baseman. Adam Hazley, average is still over 300, slugging close to 500, 852 OPS, 3.7 WAR. Ian Happ, on the verge of a 30 home run season, chipped in with 10 steals as well. So can't complain with what Happ's doing out of the leadoff spot. 352 OPS. Javi Baez hitting only 214, but he's a 2-win player between his power and his defense. 32 home runs, 82 RBIs. So he's on pace for close to 40 home runs and 100 RBIs as well. So not going to complain all that much. Kyle Seager hitting 250 in his time with the Cubs. He's picking up left field pretty nicely, but he hasn't been great. But he's been all right, for what we got for, or what we had to send to Seattle for him. So I'm not really concerned there. And everybody loves Corey's brother. Anthony Rizzo, average is starting to climb a little bit. He's got, he looks like he hit for some more power that last month. August, he hit 7 home runs, knocked in 22, both high water marks for the year. So if you can have another month like that, if he hits 7 home runs and drives in 22, all of a sudden we're looking at 28 home runs and 85 RBIs. So I would take that with kind of the way the season started for him. Looks like Clint Frazier had himself a pretty good month. He's up to 240, but still, I'm not sure how much in the plans he is. Salvador Perez has started to drop off, which is one of the reasons we called up William Contreras. He's going to get some playing time here over Perez, although if we make it to the postseason, Perez will be that starting backstop just because of his defense. Pitching, Archer, outstanding record, 15-5. He's on pace to win 18 or 19 games. ERA is still a little high. It's crept up over the last couple of months, but on pace to throw close to 200 innings, strike out 200. I will take it. Jonathan Loaisiga, 9-8, 3.57. Eduardo Rodriguez 12-10, and Julio Urias only 4-8. But he is a 2-WAR pitcher right now. So, all in all, the pitching staff is doing pretty well. Liam Hendricks is coming back to earth, so those smoke and mirrors have dissipated a little bit. You can see he's given up 52 hits and 21 walks in 49 innings. So we could be looking at a changing of the guard next year in terms of closers, as Matt Barnes has struck out 70 in 58 innings and is holding opponents to a 178 batting average. So, and then Rex Brothers, who, I can't go a session without talking about good old Rex. 51 games, 39 innings, only given up 24 hits, only 2 home runs, walked 49 batters in 39 innings, and struck out 59. So opponents are only hitting $180 off the big, strong lefty. 13 and a half strikeouts and 11 and a half walks. So hasn't been great this year. This could be the end of the road for good old Rex. And that is actually, let's take a look at the standings across the major leagues. So we'll start in the National League. NL East is pretty much wrapped up. Braves 9.5 games up on the Mets. Let's take a look at them really quickly. Looks like Mookie Betts is... Did they trade Mookie Betts? I didn't see anything. He must be on a rehab assignment. Yeah, he's on a rehab assignment. Okay. Mookie got injured. Only hit 4 home runs, drove in 34 for him this year. So it's a lot of money for a $33 million man. And I love me some Mookie, don't get me wrong. But yeah, that was a tough signing for the Braves this year. Marcelo Zuna, who they re-signed, has pitched pretty well. That's about it. So the Braves running away with the NL East. Dodgers and Rockies battling in the NL West. Dodgers up by 3.5. Let's take a look at them really quickly. Cody Bellinger, whose numbers are just off the chart ridiculous. On pace for a 50 home run season. David Price having a second nice bounce back year after his trade from Boston. 17 wins last year, 12 this year. Dodgers look good. Over in the American League, Tampa Bay has the East pretty much locked up. 9 games up on Toronto. Then 18 games up on the Yankees and Red Sox. Pretty balanced team. Looks like they're getting it done with pitching. Their offense is average, but they're getting it done with pitching, it looks like. Tampa Bay always finds a way. In the Central, the Cleveland Indians steamrolling the competition. 11.5 games up on the Chicago White Sox. They're doing it with pitching as well, it looks like. Tyler Chatwood, the former Cub, 13-6 this year. Good for him. Francisco Lindor having a crazy season. 40 home runs, 120 RBIs, still with a month to go. They're doing it with Billy Hamilton in the leadoff spot in his .267 on-base percentage. Interesting. All right, well, good for them. And then in the West, we have a bit of a race as the Angels lead the A's by a game. Defending World Series champion Houston Astros, under 500, 9.5 games out. Let's take a look at the Angels. Shohei Ohtani doing it both on the mound and at the plate, hitting 300 with 28 home runs, leads the team with 11 wins. Mike Trout, 36 home runs. This team is crushing the baseball. Look at those home run totals. Still with a month left in the season. So, looks like we are going to have some new teams in the postseason this year. So, when we come back, it'll be the end of the season, and then we'll see where we stand, and I'll kind of make a decision as to what the rest or what the following episode will look like. So, hang tight, and we'll see you in about a month. All right, we are actually going to bring it back here a little bit sooner than anticipated. If you remember, we went into September with a 4-game lead in the NL Central. Well, that lead has evaporated, and we are currently tied with the Pittsburgh Pirates with identical 85 and 67 marks with a 3-game series with those Pirates coming up. So I think what we will do is we will just sim a day at a time here through the rest of the regular season. We'll do a quick end of the season recap stats wise, and then next episode we will either start with postseason games or we will do our post-mortem because we choked. So let's see what we got going on here. Game number 1, we have Jonathan Loaisiga on the mound against Cody Bolton, who is a rookie. 23-year-old rookie, 12-7, 3.45 ERA on the season. Let's take a look. And we lose 5-4. Pittsburgh scores 4 runs in the top of the 9th off Liam Hendricks. And they take a 1-game lead in the NL Central. Now, things have started, the wheels have started to come off here a little bit for Liam Hendricks towards the end of the season. So we're going to make a executive decision here and move Mr. Barnes into the closer role. We'll move Hendricks into a middle relief role, avoiding high leverage for now. And we'll move Davy Garcia into that second setup role. So they have Stratton going. Chris Stratton, 9-8, 4.62 ERA this year, going up against Kyle Wright, 6-10, 4.67. Oh, we had to move Kyle Wright back into the starting rotation because Adbert Alzolay hurt himself. Rotator cuff strain, uncertain date. We also lost Victor Arano for the years. He tore some elbow ligaments, so he is done for the season. So a couple of pitching injuries here late in the season have really stung. So let's see if we can bring this one even. Alzolay is eligible to come off the DL. So we will call him back up and we will send down Wyatt Short. Put Alzolay right back into the rotation. Move right back into a long relief role, and let's take a look at the box score here. Chris Bryant, 2 for 4. 38th home run. Javi Baez hit his 38th home run of the season. Salvador Perez went 4 for 5. Wright went 6, struck out 5. And Hendricks pitched well in this one. All right, so now Schultens. Who's this? Jesse Schultens making just his second start of the season, going up against Julio Urias. And we lose that one as well, 14-3. Not good. Austin Barnes with 4 RBIs. Josh Bell with 3 RBIs. Urias didn't pitch well. White didn't pitch well. Brothers and Dunn all got lit up. So this is not going well for the Cubs. So we dropped 2 out of 3 to Pittsburgh. And we're still leading the wild card race, but you don't want to force yourself. This is reminiscent, you should say, of 2018, where the Cubs backed into that wild card spot and then lost the 1-game playoff. So hopefully we got a 3-game series here against the last place Cardinals. Hopefully we can rebound here a little bit with our ace on the mound, Chris Archer. We win 7-5. Half a game back as Pittsburgh was off. I got to shut off baseball cards. And we lose to St. Louis. We're now 1.5 games behind Pittsburgh. 2.5 behind as we drop 2 out of 3 to St. Louis. So it looks like we are going to drop the National League Central crown, and the wild card is even in doubt right now as we have 4 games against Arizona, and they are 1 game behind us for the wild card. So let's go ahead and save really quickly. Got Adbert Alzolay on the mound for us here in this first game. Can't believe I'm about to choke this one away. All right, first game. Adbert Alzolay on the mound for the Cubs, and we win 8-2. Seager 2 for 4, 5 RBIs. Hayward 3 for 5, 3 RBIs. Hazley had 3 hits. And Alzolay pitched 5 solid innings, so I'll take it. So we are still 1 game up on Arizona. Is that possible? Oh, I'm sorry. We're 2 games up. Okay. Yeah, Arizona's 1 game behind Colorado for the second wildcard spot. I was reading that wrong. All right, let's see what happens here with Julio Urias on the mound. We win again, 6-3. Urias, what did Urias do? 7 innings of 2-hit ball. I will take it. Betances came on and got the save. Seager with his 9th home run for the Cubs this year, and he's come along nicely. His OPSing 764. Hayward with his 14th home run. Hazley had his 42nd double on the year. So Cubs are trying to finish up strong. Chris Archer on the mound now against Luke Weaver. The Cubs have clinched a playoff spot, which is nice. They lost that one 2-1, so very critical that they win that game. So meaningless game here, but we will sim it anyway. Cubs lose again. So scored 1 run in the last 18 innings of baseball. That's not a good thing going into the postseason. But so we finish 89-73, a 14 game improvement over last year. I will take it. So let's take a look really quickly at the team, and then we'll look at the playoffs, and then next episode will be the postseason. I think what I'm going to do for the postseason, unless you guys would like to see something different, is I will sim until we get an elimination game, and then I will play the elimination game. So if it's a 5-game series and each team wins 2, then I'll play the 5th game. If it's a 5-game series and the first team wins the first 2 games, then I'll play the 3rd game and either try to close it out or hold on and play 2nd game. So it's probably how we'll go about doing the postseason, unless you guys want to see something different. Let's take a look at the final batting stats. Chris Bryant slowed down a bit in the second half of the season, but still posted almost an 8-WAR season, 964 OPS, hit just under 300, so I will take it. Adam Hazley should win the Rookie of the Year as he hit 297, 360, 481, and 841 OPS, and played a bit above average defense. So good rookie year out of Hazley. Ian Happ, just fantastic at the top of the order. The average was a little low. He struggled a little bit down the stretch as well. It looks like everybody struggled a little bit down the stretch, but still posted a 345 on base percentage and even 800 OPS. Javi Baez bounced back a tiny bit offensively. That average up to 225, 39 homers and 100 RBIs, though. Can't knock that. Guillermo Heredia, what else can you say? 882 OPS out of somebody that we've had as a backup, so just outstanding. Kyle Seager in his time with the Cubs, you can see 9 homers, 26 RBIs, 767 OPS, and ended up playing a respectable left field. So he's got a team option for next year that we are going to decline, but maybe we can bring him back at something cheaper. Anthony Rizzo, just a year to forget for Riz, did not hit a single home run in the month of September. He only drove in, 7 runs that month? five runs and hit a buck 83. So just a season to forget for Anthony Rizzo, and he's in the first year of a long contract. So hopefully he can bounce back next year. Rowdy Reed played pretty well as a backup catcher. He'll probably won't be around next year, as I've got a pair of catchers coming up. Clint Frazier started tearing the cover off the ball the last 2 months of the season. If you look at his August and September, his August hit 362 with a 1253 OPS. Hit 10 home runs in the last 2 months of the season after only hitting 6 in the first 4 months. So Clint Frazier came on strong in that second half of the month. He's a respectable backup corner outfielder. He's going to hit, both sides of both lefties and righties pretty well. So I'm happy with him. Hayward evened off as the year went on. We're stuck with him. We're either going to have to, even his defense is starting to slip, we're either going to have to just cut bait or we're probably just going to have to cut bait. I mean, after this year's only got 2 years left, so maybe we can, if we eat 80% of the salary, maybe we can send him someplace for a C level prospect or something. Wander Javier, strictly a backup all year, didn't get much playing time. 10 hits and 36 at bats. He'll probably start next year in AAA. Salvador Perez was respectable in his what will be his lone season with the Cubs. Zach Short, not very good. Probably have to try to find a better backup middle infielder in free agency. And then William Contreras came up and struggled with the bat, but it was his first taste, and he will likely be my backup catcher next season. Pitching, Chris Archer ended the season 16-6 with a 4.35 ERA, but his numbers really skewed the wrong direction. March 1.35, 3.27, 3.42, 5.17, 7.36. He bounced back a little bit in August and then struggled again in September. So, but he was durable. Pitched almost 200 innings, struck out 190, just above league average. 4.6 WAR, which was almost a career high for him. He had 1 year that was better than that. So I'll take it. I mean, he pitched pretty well especially for what we're paying him, $8 million for that. I'll take it. Jonathan Loaiziga, only 11-10, but 3.55 ERA, 10.4 strikeouts per 9. Low walk rate, low home run rate, high strikeout rate. His record should have been a lot better than 11-10. So you can chalk that up to some blown saves here in the bullpen. So I expect big things out of him in the postseason and next year. Eduardo Rodriguez, first year with the Cubs, 13-12, 3.45 ERA. Still pitched almost 200 innings, struck out 170. Strikeouts were a little down, so were the home runs, which allowed his ERA to drop significantly. So I think well worth the $10 million a year investment for the next 5 years. And if we start to struggle or he starts to slip at all, that's a movable contract. That's not outrageous. Julio Urias, 6-9, 4.76 ERA. He's still got some improvement if he can get his control up a little bit more. He still strikes out a ton of batters. So, and he's still young. He's only 25. So, be pretty happy with him. Seth Lugo had a really nice season for us. Second half slowed down a little bit, but that's what happens when you pitch almost 90 games through 96 innings, struck out 127, only walked 21. So he is my rock in the bullpen, and we're going to ride him like a pony in the postseason. Adbert Alzolay, 5-7, was a swing man, but pitched pretty well. Pitched better this year in fewer innings than he did, had a higher WAR in fewer innings than he did last year. So nice improvement there from the 26-year-old. Kyle Wright, I expected a little bit more from Wright, especially after giving up what we had to give up to get him. Contreras struggled with Atlanta, but it would have been nice to have that catching prospect. So I expect him to improve in the offseason. If he ends up with these ratings, 65, 55, 56, You should start to see uh, these numbers change. I mean, he was almost identical to last year, with a bit higher walk rate and a bit higher home run rate, and that's really the difference between the two seasons for him. Dylan Betances came over and pitched pretty well, 42 strikeouts in 29 innings. I'll take it. Was pretty good. Looks like we used him a lot. 34 games in the last couple months of the season. Matt Barnes, we moved him into the closer role at the end of the season. Only had a couple saves, but 79 strikeouts, 66 innings. He's locked up for the next couple of years as well. But if he can duplicate those numbers for the next couple of years, then it'll be a solid investment. Mitchell White, I don't want to say took a step back, but wasn't very good. Struck out a lot. His Ks were actually, he doesn't look like he did all that bad. I mean, it's the home runs, I guess, but he was rating a little bit higher than his career average. But I mean, overall, you would think that this stat line would produce better than a 4.83 ERA. So maybe just an aberration, hoping for something better. Liam Hendricks, a bit concerned about. The wheels fell off for Mr. Hendricks in the second half. You can see April, June, and July, he was fantastic. But August and September, not very good. 20 runs in 23 innings. So I'm hesitant to rely on him in the postseason, but we will see. Justin Dunn got limited time, and Rex Brothers, 67 strikeouts, 60 walks in 46 innings. He will not likely be on the postseason roster. Let's take a look quickly at our prospects. Miguel Amaya, as I mentioned, was hurt, but he hit 273 with a 900 OPS in AAA. He will be my starting catcher next season. Braylon Marquez ended up 7-8 with an even 4 ERA. He'll start next season in AA. And let's take a look at the prospects we got from the Yankees last year, because those are the ones I'm excited about. Jason Dominguez ended up playing 18 games in A-ball, 384 with a almost 1100 OPS. So he will start as a 18-year-old in high A-ball next year, probably fast-track to AA if he continues to hit. And I mean, he could be up with the team as early as 2023 if he keeps playing like this. Brennan Davis did pretty well in AA. We'll probably keep him there to start next year, but if he gets off to a hard start, he'll move quickly up to AAA. Estevan Florial. This is about what you would expect. I mean, you look at his stats and you look at his numbers, and that makes sense. Lower batting average, higher on base percentage, relatively speaking, high slugging, good on the base paths, and that's got some real value in the majors. So he'll probably be up next year. Garcia, we called him up to AA. He struggled a little bit in AA, so he will definitely start next year with the Tennessee Smokies. Give him an opportunity to get comfortable there. And I think that's about it. So, so our next episode will be the postseason. Let's see, who are we going to? Actually, let's just play to the end of the season and see who our first round matchup will be. So we are going to face the Arizona Diamondbacks in the one game playoff. Who's going to be pitching for us in that one? Let's take a look at our Archer's tired. Rodriguez is exhausted. So it's Loaiziga, the 26-year-old Johnny Lasagna, is going to be taking the mound against the Arizona Diamondbacks. So until that game happens, please, if you like what you saw, leave a like, subscribe, leave me some comments, leave me your thoughts. And until we talk again, take care. Bye-bye.